Hey, welcome back to Fanatical Siderider. Today we're going to do a review on this CFMOTO ZFORCE 950 HOEX. I'm just shy of 1 year of owning this 950 HOEX and I got 2,300 miles on it. To me, that's a pretty good amount of miles in a year because it felt like I was out on those trails a lot. So just a quick history on me and this channel. I've had 3 CFMOTOs now. I had a 21 CFMOTO ZFORCE 800EX. I have a 21 CFMOTO ZFORCE 500 ATV, plus I have this ZFORCE 950 HOEX, which I've had, like I said, almost a year now. So I have a bit of experience with CFMOTO products, and so far I'm happy with all of them. I was even happy with the ZFORCE 800EX. That was my first side-by-side ever, and I really love that thing. I had a good time with it, and again, I had no issues with it. But the reason I upgraded was because, well, I just wanted something else, of course, but I wanted a better riding machine with more power. And that's what I got from the 950. This thing is snappy. When you have it in sport mode, that power is there and it is snappy. Like you just crack that throttle and it's whipping out on you. That's how much power it has. See, I got it in sport mode. That's what I'm talking about. That's where the snap is. But if you're just in rough terrain and a slow crawl terrain, you want to put it in normal mode. And it's always ran good for me. I've never had an issue all this time. But the biggest improvement from going from the 800 to this 950 is the comfort of ride. The suspension is way different than the 800. Here you have the trailing arm system, bigger shocks, bigger suspension, and it is a much better ride. Now I hear a lot about other brands having a much superior ride compared to the CFMOTO product, but you're paying a lot more money. That's where a lot of the money goes, into suspension. But that's okay. If your budget supports that kind of machine, hey, why not? But if you want a low budget machine just to get out and have some fun and good ride with a decent comfortability of a ride, the ZFORCE 950 will give you all that. Now I'll tell you the difference between the ride of the 950 and the 800. My wife used to come out with me a few times on the 800 and she complained it was rough. But when we went to this machine here, now she'll come out anytime. She just loves this ride. She thinks it's so much more superior than the 800. That's the difference. Now, you have these new ZFORCE Gen 2 models out there. They're a nice looking machine, don't get me wrong. They look great. I'm sure they're a really good machine. I've never rode one, but they have the control arm suspension at the rear, and I don't think that it's going to have the suspension or the rideability that this 950 has, and I don't think I'd ever go to a lower model again because of that. I like the comfort on my ride. Another good feature going up to the 950 from the 800 was the ground clearance. Man, I can go places without bottoming out like I used to with the 800. It's so much different. You go into those water holes and mud holes, you got a lot better chance of getting out and get through clear. This thing's like a tank. It goes through everything. Now, the only complaint I do have is the rev limiter when you're in low gear. That is ridiculous. Now, say you're climbing a steep hill and it's a long hill and you got that rev limiter, that thing's not helping. You get it up to about 29 kilometers per hour in a mud hole and it limits out on you. That's not fun. You need that power. You need to get through that hole. Now, there are workarounds on that. You just have to find those. Now, some people will say that I've babied this thing. Well, you see some of my rides, they're just leisure rides, but I've been on some rough rides, some crazy terrain, and this thing has performed well and it's held up well. Any machine will break under duress. Like, I mean, if you're gonna pound it really hard, of course you're gonna eventually break something. Any machine will break. Every machine has its limit. So this 950, yes, it's been used gently, but it's been used pretty rough as well, but not to the point where I know I'm going to be breaking it. Like if I'm going through a really rough terrain, I don't just mash the gas and fly through across. I take my time and I climb over everything, slow crawl. That way you're not breaking stuff.